Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is Elite Dangerous. Now I'm heading out to New Yembo at last. As you know, I'm back in civilized space after a rather extensive voyage out into the vast unknown, and I did make it back and sold all my data as you saw in the previous episode. But whilst I was out there, quite a lot has happened, and I've missed a number of things that have been going on back here in the core systems, one of which was the construction of a new system through the new community events, which were goals for players to achieve certain targets in order to construct a station. And the station has come out here into the system which is now called New Yembo, and just look at the number of resource extraction sites here. There are a ton of them. Now I do want to quickly make a brief apology here, and that's because the content on this video is slightly outdated, and that's due to the fact that I was on vacation for the last 2 weeks. So what you see here may be slightly old. There is a slight bit of more recent content right at the end of the video, so if you can bear with me, I'll be bang up to date before you know it. So yeah, whole ton of resource extraction sites here. I'm going to go take a look at one of these. I would have thought they would be heavily populated by NPC ships at least, because they need to take all of the resources and metals to the new station that at this point is still unnamed, in order for it to complete its construction phases. I have tried playing this area in open, and again I do have a number of performance issues. I'm not quite sure what is going on there, but for now I'm going to have to keep playing in solo mode. Let's try and get a little bit closer here. I don't want to smash into it, although a cracked canopy probably won't be too bad at this point, as I'm close enough to a station to get the thing repaired. It's not like those edge of seat moments back on the black hole days when I nearly had a canopy breach, when I was thousands of light years away from home and absolutely no hope of repairing the ship at all. Some of you may remember that from a previous video, and I literally thought I was going to take a very quick one-way trip back to civilized space, but fortunately the canopy breach didn't happen, and it just remained some cracks on the canopy. So it doesn't seem there are too many ships around here, does it? I was expecting some NPC ships to start spawning in. Oh, maybe here they are. There's one there now. How many are going to be here? They should really all be a lot of them here, and I would be expecting to see some NPC ships doing some mining and ferrying the resources to and fro from the station, but I don't know. That was a little bit close. I don't know quite how far that sort of stuff is simulated. As far as I know, it isn't actually simulated as yet, and the NPCs are just here for the player's benefit. They're not actually carrying any ore to anywhere. They're just literally sitting here mining. So not a lot going on here right now. That seems to pretty much be it. And let's get back up there and head to the new station and have a close-up look at what that thing looks like. Quite excited to see it. The interesting thing is that the idea originally was that Orbis stations, the round orb site stations, the ones that look a little bit like an eyeball, and David Braben did make a little bit of a joke last year that they did want to call it Oculus, but of course they can't do that because of the Rift, or they didn't want to do that because of the Oculus Rift, should I say. And there we go, under construction, the current name of the new station, which obviously isn't a name, it's a status. The station is under construction. So as I was saying, it should be an Orbis station, but it's not. It's an Orbis station for some reason, and it has been manoeuvred out here via great engines, huge big engines that slowly move the ship into position. And I would love to see a station like this doing a hyperspace jump, but alas, that's something we don't get to see because it happens during downtime. So there we go, 1,248 light seconds away. That shouldn't take too long. The ship's quite fast once it gets out of the gravitational field of the gas giant that's currently holding me back. I'm quite keen to see how many of these new stations are going to be outfitted over the years, how many are going to be constructed. Currently the plans are that Frontier will manually implement new stations. Now the thing with that is that there are thousands and thousands of inhabited systems, and last I knew, I believe it was around about 100,000 or so inhabited civilized systems. Now if Frontier do continue with the idea of manually implementing new stations, you can imagine how long that is actually going to take to have any impact on the current galaxy size. Of course there are 400 billion systems, so adding these one at a time is not going to make any reasonable or realistic dent into that. But there are also some suggestions and silent implications from Frontier's direction that at some point this may be automated, and that is very exciting indeed, because having a living, breathing galaxy that can self-evolve and expand itself would be a tremendous thing, and make a game like Elite feel very, very much alive indeed. Especially when you start adding in the idea of conflict and system ownership and factions, with at the moment one faction currently being the dominant faction in a system, and this can be of course affected by players, allowing there to be civil wars and eventually a change of ownership over a particular system, and even having a faction move into a neighbouring system and start trying to stake a claim there. Now once a game starts becoming more automated and more alive, and we start having new systems being developed, new stations moving into new systems and then becoming inhabited, and then new factions starting to arise in them and stake a claim over them, we could have a very, very dynamic game that brings a huge amount of player-driven conflict and a whole lot of emergent gameplay. And that's something I have high hopes for with Elite, and something that always has held a lot of appeal from me right from the very early days of the Elite crowdfunding campaign. So we're nearly there, just 20,000 kilometers to go, down to 10,000 already. Just imagine being able to travel at these speeds. Simply amazing. I don't believe the station is going to have any reasonable amount of services yet. There won't be any shipyard or outfitting, and that's to be fully expected as the station itself hasn't been completed yet, and these things will probably come online in a later construction phase. So there we go, there's the Orbis Station. Again, it should have been an Ocellus, so I'd love to know the reasons why it's not an Ocellus station, as those were meant to be the frontier stations, the ones at the edge of exploration, or the ones that move into new systems. And just creeping round the back here, I want to take a close look at the engines that move the station itself, and that is quite a huge module on the back there. My understanding is that once these things are put into place, these engines are then dismantled and the parts used in the construction of the rings, the gravitational rings that are put around these stations, and that are then become habitation areas where people can live. So just look at the size of these engines here. It'd be nice to see these as currently active and slowly inching the station into its orbit position around whatever planet it decides to be positioned around. You know what? I fancy taking a little trip inside one of those engines just for the sake of it, and just to see what happens. I'm sure many people have done this, although I don't know if an asp will fit, but I'm sure it will because those engines look gigantic. Let's see how far we can get in before we hit anything or take any damage. Oh, it looks like we can't get in anywhere at all. A little bit of a shame there. I'd actually like to take a load of heat damage by getting around here. be neat, wouldn't it? And they're just deserved, really, for trying such a stupid thing. Let's just strafe along the side of the ship here and the station here and get a little bit of a closer look. Looks a little bit rough and ready, doesn't it? Those engines. Maybe they are used a lot. Maybe they're not deconstructed and have indeed been used to manoeuvre a whole load of stations into position over the years. So pretty much standard fare for the station there. Let's get some docking permission and go in and have a look inside. Of course, the naming of this station hasn't happened yet, and it's going to be another community driven event. People have the ability to submit names to Frontier, and Frontier will choose their favourite name, and that will be the name of this station. And that will probably have happened by the time you get to see this video, unfortunately. Or perhaps fortunately. And you guys and girls will already know something that I don't know at this point. I'm making the video. And there's Lake on Type 9. I'd like to imagine that having dropped off huge amounts of ore for the construction of this station. Where's my docking pad? There it is. Coming in a little fast, I think. I don't really want to overshoot. There we go. Let's see if we can come in for a nice gentle touchdown there. There we go. Now I do want to have a look around this system and have a look at what planets are here and what planet we're orbiting. But that information isn't currently on my system map, as this isn't a system that's actually populated automatically or by default into the ship's database. So it's a system I'm going to have to scan, and unfortunately, due to how I outfitted this ship, I don't currently have an advanced discovery scanner. So it's something I'm going to have to go and get in short order. That and probably a detailed surface scanner as well. So we'll head out to a nearby system and have a look at getting one of them in a minute, and head back here and see what this system is all about. Hopefully there's something here quite interesting to warrant a new station being put here. Surprisingly, New Yembo is actually quite a distance away from any reasonably fitted station that has any decent services, so I've had to take quite a number of jumps to get here, and all that just to find an advanced discovery scanner. And of course I had to land at a few other stations and check their outfitting screens, because we're unable to see what stations actually sell until we dock at them. So hopefully this station has got what I want. At any rate, what's an explorer doing without a discovery scanner, I hear you cry? Well, I was using the outfitting slot to try and make myself a little bit of money, but that hasn't happened just yet. But we'll try and get around to that in a little while. And of course we've got to set a new destination for our next exploration, and I'm pretty much thinking that's going to be towards the centre of the galaxy, as that's something I still haven't seen and something I'd very much like to head out and have a look around. Not least because I'm very keen to see the sheer number of dense stars that are out there. A very different looking area of space indeed to anything I've so far seen. And let's get down into the outfitting section here, and hopefully, please, there will be an advanced discovery scanner here this time. Otherwise it's going to be yet another trip to yet another station to go through this little process to see what they sell. So come on, please have a discovery scanner. I'd even go for a basic one at this point. At which point I suppose I could have just bought a sidewinder, but there we go. Brilliant. Thank goodness. 1.5 million. Okay, not bad at half the price. And let's see if we can get a detailed discovery scanner while we're here. We may as well. And then I'm going to go back to New Yembo and see what that system, should I say, is all about. Right, now we're done with that, we can head back to New Yembo again, I think. Let's just put these on a firing group to make them useful. And that's it. Right, let's get going. Right, here we are. And of course the ship scanner should, and there it goes, discover the sun. That's something I haven't been able to do. And 40 astronomical objects in New Yembo. Interesting. Let's just get a little bit of fuel there and we'll have a look at the system map, I think. And surely there must be something worthwhile here for them to want to send a new station out this way. Let's do a detailed surface scan of the sun first up though. Yeah, quite a few things there, isn't there, look. And still a whole ton of resource extraction sites. Later I'm going to have to make another attempt of trying this on open, as I'm sure there'd be a lot of players around this way and that would be interested to see in itself. Ah, one of those fabled pink systems with the dozens of pink planets and dozens of pink rings. Maybe that's reason enough to put a station out here. And look, there we go. For the first discovered by tag is a name that's going to get a lot of views on it, I'm sure, over the time. So yeah, a lot of resources available in this system, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons the station is here. Very, very valuable. These ring systems are going to require a detailed surface scan before I can see exactly what they're made up from. But I'm sure they're very valuable, especially looking at the multitude of different planet types here. So for now, that's our brief look at New Yembo. Next episode, we'll be getting back to the regular schedule of exploring deep space. But before that, it's now a little bit later. I've actually back from vacation and patch 1.2 has just dropped. So I'm going to quickly add a little bit of extra footage onto the end of this video and take a quick look at the station as it now currently stands. The station has now been named Unity, and I'm sure you're all well aware of that. That's something I've just found out, having only just returned back to Elite. So we can see this station is now well underway in its construction process. The engines have now gone and we can see the arms being constructed on what is going to eventually be the habitation rings. I want to do a close flyby of the station here and get a little bit of a closer look at just how the construction process actually occurs. So let's aim the ship this way and switch the old flight assist off, and we can have a little bit of a gander at what's going on here. So yeah, as we can see, we've got the arms being constructed here. They're each at slightly different phases. It looks like there's welding tools or some sort of art going on there. And the little solar panels, they're probably the huge solar panels. They're at various stages as well. There's a lot of them missing, a lot more to be added yet. And of course the storage containers at the back, they're actually fully in place already. So yeah, the station's quite well underway. I can't quite see where the habitation ring is going to go. It looks like it's going to be on the arms that are currently in front of the solar panels there. Although it does look a little bit close to the solar panels compared to how these stations normally look. But I guess we'll see in a few weeks how that is actually going to turn out. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this is actually going to be very interesting indeed and very exciting when we can see these sorts of stations being constructed regularly all over the galaxy. So there we have it, the construction of the new station Unity, and I'll be back to have a closer look at patch 1.2 a little bit later on. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. This has been Obsidian Ant, signing off.